After a rainy spring, May began with weeks of beautiful sunny days, and each day the grass got greener and the leaves unfurled. Some of the first fresh foods of spring come not from the homestead, but from the surrounding forests. Wild ramps and fiddleheads abound, if you know where to look. There is something so satisfying about foraging that I would almost go so far as to call it addictive. Each fiddlehead I find makes me just that much more excited to find the next, and it doesn't take long before I have a basket full of enough fiddleheads for a good meal. Fiddlehead ferns are plentiful here in Vermont and throughout the northeastern United States as well, and I would certainly encourage you to try your hand at finding a few. Just make sure you do your homework first and learn about the proper ethical foraging techniques, identification, and proper cooking of fiddleheads. This year, I tried my hand at something a little different, pickling fiddleheads. While the flavor of the pickle overwhelms the mild flavor of the fiddlehead fern, the beautiful shape remains, and I really look forward to placing these on the cheese platters that I make for my family around the holidays every year. Our old red chicken coop was the first thing that we got for the farm, long before we knew that it would ever become the fully fledged homestead that it is now. The coop was given to us by a friend, and even then it had seen a lot of wear and tear. For years I have wanted to build a new coop, one that reflects the high quality that we try to put into everything that we build, and also one that is beautiful and fits the aesthetic of the homestead. It is really important to me that this place be beautiful and that everything we create here is high quality and well made. Creating a welcoming and beautiful home and environment is really core to my vision for this place, and I see it as a work of art and expression just as much as it is a farm. We all have different things that drive us. For some, maybe it's the fresh food or the connection to the land. And for me, while all of those things are true, creating something beautiful is really my primary motivating force. However, there is a really fine line between upgrading the quality and crafting something beautiful and then being wasteful. I don't want to fall into that trap of always needing something newer and better. And being frugal is something that I value really highly. But when I stepped into the coop last year and my foot went through the floor, there was no denying that it was time for an upgrade. Balance is important, especially during such a busy time of year. It's all too easy to spend all of my time working on homestead projects until I'm honestly no longer enjoying myself. So one chilly morning, I woke early and loaded my canoe on top of my truck and headed for a favorite local pond up in the hills. It was a crisp, clear morning, but the air was still and I had the spot all to myself. The birds sang and geese splashed around in the shallows, and while I sat there on the canoe, I watched as a beaver swam back and forth across the pond in the quiet morning light. Every spring, transplanting onions begins a big push of garden work. As soon as the onions are in, it is time to plant potatoes, then cabbage and broccoli. While we have already put some greens in the hoop house, we focus heavily on storage crops in the garden. So our onions, potatoes, cabbages, carrots, beets, and dry beans take up a huge part of our space. Each year we plant 4 rows of onions, each about 50 feet long, and if all goes to plan, this patch will provide enough onions for us to eat for an entire year. It's so hard to imagine that in a few short months, each of these tiny seedlings will be an onion the size of a baseball. Planting seeds and watching them become huge plants so quickly really is incredible.